South Carolina is a conservative southern state. Its men and boys fought and died on the Confederate side of the American Civil War against the Yankee North. Today, reminders of the battlefield carnage are kept alive here at the state legislature in Columbia. Like many southern states, South Carolina didn't take well to liberal innovations from the North, such as union-friendly labor laws. So, in 1954, South Carolina became one of the first states to pass a so-called right-to-work law. Right-to-work law boosters insist that weaker unions are a key to creating jobs and prosperity. Gilda Cobb Hunter is a community activist and a Democratic state congresswoman. She says South Carolina has had a right-to-work law for 66 years, and folks are still waiting for the prosperity.
The average cost, average income is lower. The wage gap has increased. The wealth gap has increased. Within the last couple of weeks, there were reports that rank children and how well children are doing that show clearly here in South Carolina we have lost ground. So our children are poor. Our educational levels have suffered and are not improving appreciably in ways that matter. And we have struggling families and struggling and striving communities that seem to be falling behind.
There's no shortage of negative markers in South Carolina, the fourth highest unemployment rate of the 50 United States, the highest percentage of mobile home ownership, the highest violent crime rate, the 47th lowest percentage of children that graduate from high school.
But it has a lot to do with labor laws and anti-labor laws, because when we look at progress, when we look at labor and the labor movement in this country, it is clear that were it not for the labor movement and organizing back with Henry Ford and UAW and the forming of that, there would be no middle class in America. Labor unions are responsible for the middle class. Middle class has contributed to the economy of this country as well as to this state. So when you start talking about limiting a worker's access to a livable wage, to having quality of life things that people take for granted, it is impacting other areas of the community and other aspects of one's life.
When Cobb Hunter isn't working at the legislature, she runs a nonprofit center for victims of domestic abuse. The center is an independent nonprofit. Over the past 20 years, Cobb Hunter says the state of South Carolina has cut its number of public employees from 80,000 to 56,000.
Woefully overworked and underpaid. State employees are not allowed to bargain collectively. In some agencies, there is serious retribution for even thinking about organizing because of the culture here, the anti-worker culture, the right-to-work state, and the constant drumbeat of right-to-work conversations. State workers are very leery about organizing. In a number of cases, they, rightfully so, recognize that even just a conversation may well mean dismissal and termination. And of course, there are always reasons given, had nothing to do with the fact that you talked to somebody about joining a union. The bad part about right to work is you can get fired here for absolutely no reason. Right to work suggests, it's your right to work. A lot of us over the years have added it's your right to work for less, because that's really what the bottom line is.
She says right-to-work laws are just a first step in a campaign by right-wing ideologues to wipe out unions. And in South Carolina, less than 5% of workers are now in unions. Cobb Hunter has this warning for unions and union members in Ontario.
Please don't underestimate the seriousness of this effort. This is not something that's going to go away. You can't wish it away. You can't agonize. You've got to organize, and you better be serious about it, because trust me, these people are serious. They take no prisoners. They leave no stone unturned. And because y'all don't understand what you're dealing with, you better understand what you're dealing with and take it seriously. Otherwise, you're going to be just like us, and that ain't what you want.